Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Star Trek Picard, episode 7. We're getting very close now to the end of the season and things that are probably going to be heating up in the next few episodes. Today we're going to have a look at 11 new promotional photos that have just come out to promote this week's new episode. We're going to take a look through those one by one, see what information we can gather is coming up for this week's episode and see what we can learn. Guys, if you haven't subscribed to Sci-Finatics yet, please go ahead and click on that big red button to stay up to date with all the latest Star Trek news on YouTube. Much appreciated. And let's get into these photos and have a look and see what we're up for in episode 7 entitled Monsters. So in our first photo here, we've got Rios and Dr. Teresa at the medical clinic. I'm gathering in this episode we have Rios at the clinic helping Talon do the whole mind investigation thing with Picard. So they're kind of working on bringing Picard out of his coma. While I'm guessing we have Girardi out wreaking havoc in the city of LA, whilst Raffi and Seven try to hunt her down. It seems like Rios might be in for a little bit of trouble with Dr. Teresa in terms of she's no dummy. She can sense there's some weird stuff going on. We had Picard blowing up her defib kit last week, so I reckon she's starting to clue in on the fact that these guys aren't necessarily from this particular century, and I'm guessing Rios is probably going to have to explain himself to Teresa a bit more in this episode. In our next photo here, we have Talon plugged into the mind meld-esque device that she's using to burrow her way into Picard's psyche, work out what's going on inside his head so that she can help guide him out of the coma that his synth body appears to be stuck in. As I pointed out in the sneak peek scene and trailer we had for this episode the other day, considering she doesn't like to be called Laris and the fact that she keeps saying I'm not Romulan, she's certainly got some pretty good Romulan ears attached to this device she's using. Perhaps it's Romulan tech, I don't know. But yeah, I think there's something a bit more to Talon than what she's letting on in terms of her connection to Laris. It looks like we've got Rios here with a few 24th century medical devices and so forth. There was a shot in the trailer where he was beaming in some sort of equipment. We've obviously got some kind of futuristic hypospray type implement there on the tray. We've got his comm badge underneath. We've got a whole bunch of things in his hand there that he's clearly getting beamed aboard from La Serena to the medical clinic to aid in Picard's medical treatment. So yes, I'll be very interested to see what Dr. Teresa makes of all these very futuristic medical devices that's suddenly appearing in her clinic out of thin air. And in this shot, it looks like she's kind of sprung him. We've got Teresa holding one of these 24th century implements here. We've got a bunch of other instruments on the tray there in front of Rios. I'm guessing this scene we've got Teresa going, hey, these implements, I've been a doctor for X amount of years. I don't recognize any of these surgical instruments. Where the hell are you guys from? Because this ain't from around here. And I'm guessing Rios is probably going to have to come clean with some sort of plausible explanation as to how he's suddenly getting all these futuristic medical tools beamed into his hands out of nowhere. In our next photo here, we have Picard in a very stark looking set, sitting in a chair which sort of vaguely resembles a captain's chair. Coffee table there next to him, and we've got a door or a window there behind him with some very basic looking kind of stars. I'm guessing this is probably something akin to what we saw last season when Picard had his conversation with Data while they were inside the construct or whatever. It was all a grey room, very simplistic kind of surroundings. And I'm guessing this is kind of we're inside Picard's mind in this scene. He's obviously seeing himself in this sort of onboard a sort of starship kind of environment, but it's very basic rendering of an environment that he's kind of pretty familiar with. Now in this shot, this is one of our more interesting shots. We have Picard talking to this particular character here. He's played by James Callis, who a lot of you guys would remember having played Baltar in the Battlestar Galactica TV series. Funny that we only mentioned Battlestar Galactica in the last video, because all these shots we've got Agnes in the red dress running around LA being talked to by an imaginary friend, i.e. the Borg Queen. I mentioned was very kind of reminiscent of the whole Baltar 6 relationship from Battlestar Galactica. And who would have guessed it, next episode we have Baltar himself, James Callis, in this episode. Now, I did kind of think that if he was going to be in this episode, I thought James Callis might be playing Picard's dad. We've seen a lot of these flashbacks where his mum is on the run from somebody. There's a bit of family violence issues going on back in the day when Picard was a child. I thought James Callis might be playing Picard's father. However, on this shot we've got him in a Starfleet uniform, and it appears he has a Starfleet insignia of some kind on the uniform there. But as I said, the divisional collar doesn't sort of ring any bells. But maybe this is the alternate timeline uniform. Maybe it's the Confederation rather than a Federation or Starfleet uniform. Nonetheless, I think it will be very interesting to see what character James Callis has to play in this week's episode. Obviously, you know, haven't seen him do that much since Battlestar Galactica, but he was really entertaining and great in Battlestar Galactica. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to go in Star Trek Picard. Now, in this shot, we have young Jean-Luc Picard, obviously at the vineyard again. We've got suits of armour. We've got an art easel there in the background. I'm guessing this is one of the rooms at Chateau Picard that he, you know, played in as a boy. Whether I don't think this is the greenhouse environment. This is something a little bit different. But clearly, when he was young, him and his mum would have some games. They'd be playing dress-ups, playing, you know, kings and queens and medieval kind of role-playing sort of scenarios. And I'm guessing this is one of his memories from childhood, where him and his mum are doing a bit of cosplay, a bit of role play, having a few fun and games. In our next shot here, we have Seven and Raffi out and about in LA somewhere. They're looking for Jurati. They've worked out that Jurati has been assimilated by the Borg Queen, and they're trying to track her down, I'm guessing. And here's a shot of the same scene. This time, angle is on Raffi. Raffi has a device, one of the devices from this La Serena, like a pad they're using to try to track down Agnes and see where she's gone. Speaking of Agnes, here she is, still in the red dress and looking a little bit zonked out, i.e. possessed, with the Borg Queen. And she's kind of doing a bit of a walking tour of LA, no doubt causing havoc. I wonder what the Borg Queen's agenda is and what she needs to do to reach her optimum power levels, where she can kind of start, I don't know, assimilating Earth. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Agnes, or Allison in this case, you know, plays the whole Borg Queen possession. I think that could be quite entertaining, and I think there's going to be some very interesting scenes with her interacting with the members of the public, doing things she shouldn't be doing, and generally causing a bit of mayhem in downtown LA. I think the Borg Queen is going to certainly give Agnes a full dose of the confidence levels. Obviously, Agnes is a little bit awkward socially and everything. I think the Borg Queen is going to give her a certain amount of strength. And that strength is definitely going to be showing itself in a big way, I'm guessing, in this week's episode. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed these 11 promo photos for this week's upcoming episode of Star Trek Picard, episode 7, entitled Monsters. I'll probably be a little bit later than usual with my reviews for this week for Picard, because it's Easter school holidays and I'm off with the family for a bit of a vacation, but I'll still be trying to produce some stuff for you guys, churning out some content as best I can while I'm away, but it might take a little bit longer than usual, so please bear with me. I'll be back soon with my next video. Guys, please leave a super thanks if you're able to. It really helps the channel out. Like and comment if you can't, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Check out my merch in the merch store where you can pick up some cool t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, caps, all that sort of content for good prices, and it really helps support the channel at the same time. I'll be back soon with my next video. I'll catch you then.